Good afternoon, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to episode 3 of Stewarts Soundbites. I'm here with Chris Smith today, who's a colleague. He's a senior associate at Stewarts in the injury team. And for those of you that have joined the last 2 weeks, you'll be sick looking at me. So Chris is a nice bit of light relief. And we are joined today by Jules and Toria, who are the founders and directors of Steps Rehabilitation Sheffield. I don't think that Steps need much of an introduction, actually. So I'll just really quickly say that this is a really sort of unique facility based in Sheffield, and Steps provide rehabilitation for people that have sustained serious injuries, including traumatic brain injury, spinal cord injury, amputation, strokes, loads more I haven't mentioned. So as normal, this is a 15-minute session, so I'm not going to go on. I'm going to hand over to Chris, because we're doing this in a Q&A style format for a bit of a change, and Chris is going to ask the first question.
Thanks, Emma. So at Steps, you're well known for providing your rehab in a non-clinical, comfortable and quite homely environment. And I, for one, think there's a real family feel and a sense of community spirit that's pretty unique. What steps have you taken over the lockdown period to preserve this, and how do you think that they've been successful?
Well, to begin with, we had all our clients were mostly in their bedrooms and isolated in their rooms at the very early days of COVID. And so we recruited 2 of our existing team into wellbeing coordinator roles. And they would do things like whatever the client wanted to do. So it could be, we had a Zoom quiz that the clients could all then they could all mix via Zoom and do a quiz as a team. Or it could be even potting plants and vegetables. One of the clients did that in his room. They did cooking in their rooms, painting. It was really nice. We made activity boxes up for the rooms, and case managers were really good at supporting this. A couple of case managers in particular, so whatever the client needs, let us know, and we'll make up boxes that would help with activities in their rooms, rehab activities, but also kind of wellbeing activities. So we just did a lot of that, tried to create kind of sessions and things that would work, and to try and keep that community, music in the corridors so the clients could hear, getting clients out in the garden, distance, and those kind of things. We did arrange for one of our clients, we arranged for him to have a dinner date with his wife. One of our therapists got her husband to come and play. He was a musician. He came and played. The chefs cooked a 3-course meal. He specified what bunch of flowers he wanted for his wife, and they went off to Tesco's and got those. And then there was a complete surprise for her. So we did a couple of things like that, which was nice. We also had a surprise birthday party, a couple of surprise birthday parties actually we planned for clients. So it just needed a lot of coordinating, but it's so worth it. It's what they've needed to create that, keep that atmosphere. Poker nights have been quite a success. We've got a group of people at the moment that are particularly fond of poker nights, and also an ice cream van. That was the success. I think it's just been about trying to do what we do normally, but we've just had to do it in a very different way. So and adapt. And it is obviously a little bit easier now. We're all used to wearing PPE and distancing and all those things. Have I missed anything there?
No, I think you've covered quite a lot. We did a good VE Day celebration, didn't we, as well? And we roped in, we've got a couple of people in the team who were great at singing, so that was really nice. So they sang for the clients in the cafe, and then we had Union Jack masks for the event, and that went down well. But yeah, just as Jules says, it's just where we haven't had the families, we've had to kind of be even more of a family for the clients, and sort of embrace the skills of the team far and wide, really, haven't we? Yeah.
I've been trying to convince Jules and Toria to get the ice cream back, the ice cream van back, myself.
It's actually very warm in Sheffield today, so maybe this afternoon, Emma.
Maybe. Well, I'm in.
It might take me a while to get there.
Yeah. There's been a great deal of reorganization within the NHS, within hospitals, over lockdown, to make sure that there's adequate provision for COVID patients. And I mean, I'd like to know a little bit about how Steps managed, and whether Steps had to reorganise its structure in any way. And I'm interested to know whether whether any of your clients were impacted by COVID and how that all went.
Thanks, Emma. So initially we kind of looked at which clients we had that needed to be discharged would be safer really at home, not knowing what the future was going to kind of bring really with COVID. So some of our clients that could go home actually went home. We also had other clients that were due to come in who we liaised with to help support them with the decision about what was going to be better for them. Was it to stay at home and be safe, or was it to come in and carry on with their rehab? So that allowed us to kind of create a bit more space and work out then what we could do to offer to support the NHS. So we didn't really quite know what it was going to look like, and there was a lot of different information going around, which made it really difficult, from being told that the hospital would just be able to send you who they like to you'll be able to be involved in the decisions. So at the beginning it was really kind of creating space, and then we had to complete quite a lot of national and local trackers to sort of say what vacancies we had, what sort of patients we could support here. So they were trying to create a national picture really of vacancies. So we fed into that, and then also started liaising directly with NHS England. We tried to take a proactive approach and let them know what clients we could actually support here. You know, our skill mix, as you say, is for that real complex trauma type of client. So it made much more sense for us to relieve the hospitals for those clients, so they could focus on treating the clients with COVID and other conditions. So we had a lot of conversations with NHS England and with all the spinal injury centres nationally. And then as a result, we did take some NHS England funded clients at Steps. So that was great to be able to support in that way. We also liaised kind of locally with a lot of the different hospitals around, again, letting them know what we could do. We had a lot of calls from families, I think, who felt like their family members weren't able to get enough rehab because of what was happening at hospital. So we also, took in extra patients that I suppose would have normally been in hospital, but actually chose to come to us where they were in a position to do so. So that was really good. And it did also allow us to create some really good links with NHS England and other people kind of nationally, especially with the spinal injury centres, which was great for us going forwards. I think the second part of your question about did we have anyone contract COVID? We've had one client who did contract COVID quite early on. We had zone steps into different areas, and our most vulnerable clients in one part of Steps who would normally be shielding if they'd been at home. And it was actually, despite that, it was one of the clients there that did contract COVID. And I guess best because what was in the media at the time, because this was at the beginning of April, I think, we did all think the worst once it happened for this client. And fortunately, he did get admitted to hospital for a couple of days, but that was only because he presented with neurological symptoms, which at the time was only just starting to become known about. So this was right at the beginning of April. And that's the only reason they took him in, because they weren't taking clients from facilities like ours in hospital, as you'll know from the media. So this meant he had a couple of days of IV antibiotics and high amounts of oxygen, then was returned to us with a plan really for palliative care. We were told to prepare for end-of-life care. We were told exactly what to expect over a 14-day period of how he would present. And as you can imagine, that for us at Steps, that isn't our normal way of working. It's not something that we've had to do before. So there was a lot of support and training needed for the team. We liaised locally with the community GP around end-of-life care. But as each day kind of went past, this client was still with us. We had literally 2-to-1 care for him, same really small team working with him. We kind of zoned one particular room at one end of Steps for him so we could keep all of our other clients safe. And he literally had 2 people round the clock, including at times a physio with him all day, doing chest physio. And he survived, which was just
We were determined
amazing.
not to lose him.
Yeah, I mean, he's an incredibly determined character, very, very determined character. And I think, the team were absolutely amazing, and the care he received. And kind of, we finally got to day 14, we kept, do we think this is it? Do we think he survived? Every day it was like, what do you think? It was another day. And then we kind of finally got to the point where we felt we could actually say, he was a survivor. So that was just, that was amazing, really amazing. So, yeah.
It's great to hear the really positive outcome there for your client, and that could almost be a case study in another webinar in itself.
Yes, yeah.
One of the most unique things about STEPS is the diversity and the quality of the rehab equipment and therapies and the services that you have available. How was access to these therapies and the equipment that you have managed during the stricter periods of lockdown? And have you now progressed to the stage where you can allow clients safe access to things like the hair salon and the games room and the skills kitchen?
Yeah, well, at the beginning, with so many staffs off isolating, you know, in the very early days, it was tricky. So we were reviewing timetables on a daily basis, but we had most of the rehab happening in each individual's client's bedroom. Because they're so large, they could do things like walking. We used the bed as a plinth, all sorts of things. Everybody adapted really well. We had equipment that we took up into the clients' rooms, like the bikes, the motor-med bike, rowing machine, depending on which, you know, client it was. We made our games room actually into a mini gym, and it still is a mini gym because we use that for our most vulnerable clients. So we are accessing the hair salon now a little bit, but we closed the pool initially because we couldn't have the regular testing, the external providers coming in to test the water. But that's been reopened now for a while actually, and we have to follow really strict procedures. But the hydrotherapy is very much back on the timetable, which is one of the most popular therapies with our clients. So that's good. We did things like take equipment outside as well, so we couldn't have as many clients in the gym once we did start to bring them into the gym. So we would take a plinth outside, and we'd have clients outside using equipment and the plinth for therapies, and use the garden more. So yeah, we bought giant games to make activities happen outside. We just had to be really I don't like using this phrase, think outside the box, but we did really have to try and make therapy happen. And I don't think the therapy levels, we didn't really reduce anybody's therapy. They had just as much. It was just we had to do it differently.
I think in fact they had more really because we didn't have families visiting, so we had to kind of keep clients, you know, engaged, you know, throughout longer periods and really kind of plug that gap. So I think the rehab assistants did a lot of additional programs. To keep, I think some people actually, I don't think they got to rest anyway.
No, I think sometimes they just wanted a day off. But and also again, case managers were really supportive. They would, you know, a lot of clients then ended up having their own motor-med bike, for example, in their room. So we ended up having more equipment for individual clients. And then obviously our equipment we did use and move from room to room. We just had to, you know, wipe down and do it correctly. But it's it was amazing how people adapted and you know, clients still egging each other on and encouraging each other from rooms, and they made WhatsApp groups together, and you know there was still that community spirit in regards to encouraging each other with their rehab goals, which was really nice to see because you could have easily lost that, I think.
Yeah, we did manage to run a couple of our, like you said about the quiz, but we also had some speech and language, like a book group that we ran, and a few different things which we were still able to do via Zoom, so the clients could still have a bit of social interaction. That was at the point when they were all in their rooms, and we've gradually managed to ease some of that, haven't we, and put various different protocols into place for clients to be able to start using the gym, wearing masks and with appropriate distancing, and again using the cafe, and just having to use all the spaces we've got slightly differently to allow for the distancing and getting people out of their rooms and outside as much as possible, really.
Yeah, I have got a few photos. I don't know if you've got time to share them, Emma. Have I, and Chris?
Yes, you've got some time. Yeah.
No, it's just that we did have we used Zoom for neurologic music therapy as well, which was nice, and psychology sessions. So we did a lot. This was one of the clients having her nails painted in her room, which she loved. What she wanted for her free time was someone to do pampering stuff with her. So she had her hair blow dried that day and her makeup done, and that was one of our rehab assistants. This was it's actually our music therapist, our speech and language therapist, sorry, who plays the violin. So she played in the garden one weekend for the clients, just moved around the building, which was nice. This was BE Day with our, with one of our clients there. They did some singing and everybody dressed up. Although it doesn't look like John's dressed up there, but yes. And then this was hydrotherapy, aquatic therapy happening. You know, just with, we have to wear masks in the water. The clients don't, but we do. And then we've tried to encourage staff to bring in their pets. And this is Mandy R, a lovely receptionist, bringing in her little puppy. And that's the kind of thing that's been nice as well. They've been able to go into
lots of new puppies, haven't they?
this is one of our clients enjoying the ice cream van. So that was where we had clients and staff. We did that, but that was nice. This is our just doing some gardening outside, making some hanging baskets. So just trying to keep that, yeah, very much tried to keep that as much going as possible, really. So,
well, thank you so much. It's so lovely to see how you've adapted, and I agree, it's absolutely amazing how people have sort of had to find these innovative ways of working, and you guys at Steps more than most. So it looks brilliant, but I'm going to be a Scrooge and wrap us up, I'm afraid, because we've had our 15 minutes. But thank you both ever so much for coming on and speaking to us and telling us about your experiences during lockdown. It's lovely to hear. As I've said before, we don't have enough time to do Q&As from anybody watching, unfortunately, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to contact me or Jules or Toria or Chris. Our email addresses will be at the end of the recording of this, and we're all on Twitter, so you can message us on there too. I'll just quickly mention next week and the week after, we're having a break from Stewarts Soundbites because we are, Stewarts are hosting a case management seminar next Wednesday at 11. And the week after, we are hosting an expert witness training day. All of the details of those events are on our website. And again, if you've got any queries or want to register, just send me a message and we'll sort it out for you. We'll be back the week after, so that's the 30th of September, where I was speaking to Dr. Donald Breakin, who's a neuropsychologist. And we're going to be talking about the psychological impact of the different stages of lockdown on people with brain injury, which will be a really interesting one. So do tune in, and thank you all ever so much, and have a lovely day. Bye.
Thanks, Emma. Bye.